Alright, this is 8-8 notes. These are difference of squares. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the examples. We're going to do pretty much the exact same thing that we did before, same process. So here we're going to start with number 1. You have x squared minus 81, and we are going to factor this. So the first thing you need to do is see if there's a greatest common factor that you can pull out, and you'll see there's not. So the first thing we're going to write is no GCF. Okay, and then we're going to label A, B, and C. So A is equal to 1. B is your coefficient in front of x. If you notice, there is not a middle term. There's no x, so B will be equal to 0. And C is equal to negative 81. AC method says you're going to multiply 1 times negative 81, and you will get negative 81. So I know that my answer is going to be x plus or minus something, x plus or minus something. So I'm going to look at this negative 81. Okay, and what I know is that whenever I multiply these, it's going to give me a negative, but whenever I add them, it's going to give me a zero pair. In order to get a zero pair, you have to have a positive and a negative. So I'm going to have my positive and negative. Now, you don't have to go through every single factor that can multiply to give you 81, because you know these numbers have to be the same in order to give you your zero pair. So if you think about it, what two numbers multiply that are the exact same number to give you 81? Well, that number would be 9. 9 times 9 is 81. Make one of those negative. Negative 9 times a positive 9 is a negative 81. And when I add those up, it gives me my zero pair. So that's what you're looking for here, are your zero pairs. So I'm going to plug that in. I have a minus 9 and a plus 9, and that is it. Alright, looking at the second one, m squared minus 100. First thing that you need to ask yourself, is there anything you can pull out? For this one, there is nothing I can pull out, so no GCF. Then I'm going to label A, B, and C. A is equal to 1. B is equal to 0 because there's no middle term. C is equal to negative 100. AC method says we're going to do 1 times negative 100. So AC comes out to negative 100. I know my answer is going to be m plus or minus something times m plus or minus something. To figure that out, we're going to look at this negative 100. So again, since my middle term is 0, I'm going to have a zero pair. That means I'm looking at the same number. One's going to be negative and one's going to be positive. What number can you multiply to get you 100? That's the same, 10 and 10. So just make one of them negative, and there you go. Multiply those, they give you negative 100. Add them together, it gives you 0. So minus 10 and plus 10. And that's it. Okay, number 3. First thing you need to ask yourself, is there a greatest common factor? And in this one, there is. You can pull a 4 out of both these numbers. You're left with 9x squared minus 25y squared. So my GCF is equal to 4. Remember, you do not trash this one. So now let me label what my A and C is. So for this one, A would be equal to 9. B is equal to 0, and C is equal to negative 25. So AC is going to be 9 times negative 25. So AC, when you do that, it comes out to negative 225. So I know my answer is going to be, we're going to have a 4, first of all, because I got to bring that down. Then I'm going to have a 9x. And I'm going to have a 9x. And I know I'm also going to have a y in the back because it's y squared. So we just got to figure out what number we're going to put in front of the y. So to do that, we're going to look at this negative 225. Remember, my middle term is 0, so that means that we're going to have a negative and a positive, and it has to be the same number to be a zero pair. So what two numbers can you multiply to get you 225? Well, that would be 15 and 15. So minus 15 and plus 15. Okay, so you still have this 4. Now we have to see, is there a number that I can pull out, another greatest common factor, and there is. And that number is going to be a 3. So what I have left over is I have 3x minus 5y, and I can also pull out a 3 over here. So I have left 3x plus 5y. Now remember, if you pull this stuff out after the greatest common factor, you trash it. So trash, trash. So my final answer that I have left over is 4 times 3x minus 5y times 3x plus 5y. And that's it. All right. Number 4. Again, first thing you need to ask yourself is, do you have a greatest common factor? And for this one, actually, let me see something. Okay, so for this one, you have 49 and you have 36. So the only numbers that go into 49 are 7 and 7. And the only numbers that go into 36, so you have more numbers that go into 36. But 7 doesn't go into 36, so for this one, there is no GCF. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. So we have A is equal to 49, we have B is equal to 0, and we have C is equal to negative 36. So for AC, we have 49 times negative 36. So AC is equal to, and I can't do that one in my head, 49 times 36, which is negative 1,764. So we had to find two numbers that will multiply to give me 1,764 that are the same. Okay, so before I do that, I know we're going to have 49x and a number. We're going to have 49x and a number. So to figure out what that number is, we're looking at this negative 1,764. Okay, B is 0 pair of 1s, negative 1's positive. You can put this in your calculator and at y equals, look at your table and see what numbers are the same. Or shortcut is these are all perfect squares, so you can take the square root of 1,764, and the two numbers would be 42. So minus 42 and plus 42. All right. So both of these have a greatest common factor of 7 because you can pull a 7. 7 is the only thing that goes in the 49. 7 can come out of 42. So I can pull a 7 out. And when I do that, I'm left with 7x minus 6. And again, I can pull a 7 out. And what I'm left with is 7x plus 6. So remember, after you pull out your greatest common factor at the end, it just becomes trash. So my final answer is 7x minus 6 times 7x plus 6. Okay, we have 4 more where we are solving, and then we're done. So number 5. Okay, we are solving for x. All right, so I'm going to show you a different way of how we're going to do this. So for this one, the first thing that we can do, the easiest way to solve these, is we can divide both of these by 81 to get x by itself. So I have x squared is equal to, now you don't want to reduce this 49 over 81. Just leave it as 49 divided by 81. Okay, the opposite of squaring something is to take the square root. So if I take the square root and the square root, you have an x left over here. Okay, this is the same thing as the square root of 49 divided by the square root of 81. And hopefully you know your square roots. Square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 81 is 9. And that's it. You can always go back and plug this in. Make sure you have the correct answer. Now, let me tell you something about square root, though. With the square root, it can either be a negative or positive, and we don't know in this case, so we're going to write down both the negative and the positive. All right, let's look at number 6. So again, we're solving for the variable. So on these problems, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 100 to both sides. So we have 25d squared is equal to 100. To get d by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 25. So you have d squared is equal to 100 divided by 25 is 4. The last thing that you need to do is square root both sides. So you get d is equal to square root of 4 is 2. Again, when you take a square root, though, it can be a negative or it can be a positive. So really we have two answers. Okay, number 7. Let me see. All right, so we're actually going to skip number 7 because we don't need that one. So we're going to skip number 7 because that's not on, that's for more algebra 2, so we'll skip that for right now. And with this one, we'll see. Let me see if I can do this one real quick. If not, we're probably going to have you all skip this one. So let's see, we have 2m cubed. If we do minus 32m is equal to 0, you have a greatest common factor you can pull out. You can actually pull out a 2 and you can pull out a m. So you will be left with an m squared, and then minus 16 is equal to 0. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to set both of these equal to 0. Let me get a different color. You have 2m is equal to 0, and you have m squared minus 16 is equal to 0. So solving this first one, if I were to divide both sides by 2, I can get m is equal to 0. Okay, solving the second one, I can add 16 to both sides. So we have m squared is equal to 16. And then I can square root both sides. And I'll get m is equal to 4. Remember, it can also be a negative 4. So you have 3 answers here. Your 3 answers in order from least to greatest to be negative 4, a 0, and a positive 4. Alright, and I think that is it for 8-8. Yeah, because 8-9 is next.